Now how much heart, how much tears, how much blood is in one symphony? Few notes, right? Can you imagine, humanly speaking, how much God puts into the world? Unbelievable, right? And this Shabbos we read the craziest thing. A whole world of flooding. Everybody drowning. And I want you to know something very strong. That after you sleep, there were not a few thousand people, there were millions and maybe billions. Because at that time people lived 1,000 years. That means they were strong like lions, right? And when their wives got pregnant, they didn't have one baby or two. They had maybe, I don't know how many kids they had at one time, right? And they were super strong, right? Obviously, they lived for 1,000 years. And you have to realize how strong they were that even, let's say, 100 years later, they made her rich to the wife of Sita for 3 years old when she got married. That means at that time they were so strong, even immature, not living old. When they were 3 years old, they were like we are in their 50s, 60s. And we don't know how many people lived then, because there was only one permanent north, right? And after the flood, everything changed because it was not so strong anymore, physically. Time changed, everything. So we have no idea how many people lived there. Absolutely no idea. Isn't it crazy? God created such a beautiful world. And you know what's so sad? We just read last week He created it. And this week already destroyed. The whole world. Only one little man left. No. I just want to say 40 minutes cough. Usually I always say cough. If you want to cough, take a drop, you know? Anyway. I hope I'm wrong.
On behalf of everybody here, it's not even of course never.
Thank you, brother.
Fast way. Take up those thousand make it fast.
Yeah, it's me. But heartbreaking, right?
You're not heartbreaking.
No, forget it. So I'm talking about the stuff. Let's get back. I know what you mean, though. Something else. And I want you to think of it in the deepest depths of your heart. God says to Noah, I'm going to destroy the whole world, and only you and your family and a few of the animals will be left. And again, from my heart to your heart, when God wanted to save him, couldn't God tell him, the whole thing is a miracle, right? So God told him to stay in your house, invite all the animals to stay in your house. So God has to tell him, make a ship and you have to realize something else. The waves, you can imagine if the whole world was flooded, and what kind of, have you ever seen the Niagara Falls? The Niagara Falls is a little bit left over from the flood, right? A little tiny, 1 billion pool. You know how fast the water was going during the flood? No idea, right? So it's actually, the most is absolutely no, because the waves was flowing around the little ark like mad, right? But stayed alive. It's a miracle anyway, so he could have had another miracle. Let God appoint a certain part of the world where there is no flood. Besides, according to our tradition, there was no flood in Israel anyway. So God could have said to Noah, brother Noah, take your wife and your children and take El Al, go to Israel, stay there, don't move out because it's a bad scene. Okay, in a nutshell, Noah comes out. And if you read the next 10 generations, the bad scene again. Finally, one Yidel Avraham Avinu, the first way of life. And the Bible says, the Gemara says, the world was in darkness till our father Abraham. Our father Abraham came, suddenly he brought light into the world. Everybody knows that during the time of Abraham, there was a city, Sodom. God wanted to destroy Sodom, house of Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu is crying, begging, please get them destroyed. So let's say everybody's just a little bit angry as Brother Noach. Brother Noach, what's wrong with you? Couldn't you just do a little bit praying? And the answer is that Noach didn't even know that prayer helps. Till our father Abraham, the world did not know that there was such a thing as prayer. The world thought this is God says so. I should tell God what to do. Actually blasphemy, right? More than blasphemy. I, little creepy creature, I should tell God who created me, who created the whole world, I will tell him what to do. So Noah was right. I mean, who is he to have to be crazy? But now I'm asking you again, in the deepest sense, to think of it. You know, nobody told Abraham that prayer helped. What was so dear about Abraham that he knew there has to be prayer? If there is one God, if this is really God, if God is God, and if I, a human being, I'm creating God's image, I have to be able to talk to him. If he talks to me, I've got to talk back. I want you to think of it in the deepest depth. Because I want you to know, every year, you're not just reading the Parshas, you're learning. It has to be the deepest learning of the world. And everybody knows that every year after Rosh Hashanah we have to go through the whole thing of creation, we have to go through the flood, we have to go through the Flogger, the people who want to build the tower. And again, I want you to know something. Do you know that the people after the flood really knew the secrets of creation? You know, reading the Bible, they wanted to build a tower. What do you mean a tower? They wanted to build the Rockefeller Center. They were building a missile. The Yaroslav, the Heilige Rabbi Yonason says they were building a missile. It means they knew the secret how to get out of space. They were building a missile in case of another flood, they were taking off to another planet. And you can imagine how much they knew that it took again the world 4,000 years to learn a little bit about missiles, and we haven't really learned it yet, right? We haven't learned it yet. Yeah? $150 years, exactly 150 years. Yeah. But still, we don't see that it's played, you know. Unless you think he did. He did preach. He did a lot of preaching, but he didn't pray. I don't know. But obviously there was not the sense. If the Torah puts down Abraham's prayer, not Noah's prayer, that means Noah obviously maybe still was praying, but it wasn't that strong. You know? To be written up in the Torah, it has to be completely solid in the deep depths of his soul. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Let's first see what the whole vision is saying. Everybody knows that God has two names. Elohim is the Mafia Torah. It means Elohim is the name of God which is manifest in nature. In field. Then God has the name Yud-Ke Vov-Ke, which is beyond nature. One who created the world and is beyond everything. So in a nutshell, Avraham Avinu connected to Yud-Ke Vov-Ke, and Avraham Avinu was on the level he was like walking with His halach lefone v'yitum, Avraham Avinu was growing before nature. Like imagine if nature is going 100 miles an hour, he was going 150. Noah was actually everything the way God wants it to be in nature. Nature can change nature, summer, winter, winter. I don't know if I told you at one time, there was a big Rebbe, Rabbi David Lelever. In the middle of the summer, he would always take his fur coat with him. You tell him in the summer, you take a fur coat, in the summer. I said, how do you know? Maybe tomorrow morning God wants it to be cold. You see, he was on the level that, how do you know, right? We always think, in the winter it has to be cold, in the summer it has to be warm. Why? And even the rest, maybe tomorrow morning God wants it to be different. How do you know that it's night? It has to be dark. Maybe God wants it suddenly, like Moshe Rabbeinu, in the middle of the night the sun should be shining. I don't know. I want to give it to you in a nice little insight. Abraham was absolutely beyond nature. Why was he beyond nature? Because he was serving God beyond his own nature. Noah was serving God on his nature. Obviously, Noah did not open his house and tell the whole world, come and eat in my house, because this is beyond nature. If a person serves God on the level of his nature, listen, I have $10, I'll give you a quarter, right? And if I'm in good mood, I'll give you $1. But if I have $10, I'm giving you my $10, you crazy? I have my own house. You want to sleep in my house, you can sleep on the sofa. Right? I'll give you my bedroom and I'll sleep on the sofa. It's crazy, right? I want you to know there was a Swedish Yidler in Warsaw. He was a very wealthy man. It was mamish like a little Abraham. People would come in, eat there, sleep there. And you know on what level? Nobody even knew who the owner is. No. Yeah. But I know his name was not, maybe it was, I don't know. In Russia? Yeah. Anyway, this one is, I wasn't there. But anyway, he was like, nobody, not only he gave, people didn't even know who he was, the owner was. At one time a Jewish leper was there and he was there for a few days. And he himself would also eat food among the schleppers. Nobody knows he's the owner. So, that's the story. So this schlepper asked him, do you think I could stay here for a little longer? He says, listen, I'm staying here for a long time, nobody's from here. So, why not you also, you know? Okay, you know, I have seen people knock on somebody's door and you let them in. If you don't have guests, you're also glad. Can you imagine somebody mamish begging people come to visit me? Come to my house? Great, it's beyond nature. From my heart to yours, I want you to think in a very deep way. On the level of nature, I'm a creature and God is God. I have nothing to tell him. If I'm on the level beyond nature, why can't I tell God also? If I'm on the level of Yud Kevot and beyond nature, then suddenly I know nothing has to be. Not only nature doesn't have to be, even what God says doesn't have to be. And I want you to think of it in a very deep way. Imagine two friends, if they are not that close, and you tell me I'm angry with you, I don't want to see you anymore. I take it literally, right? If they're not that close. Listen, you told me I don't want to see you anymore. Imagine if you're just one heart and one soul. And you tell me, listen, I don't want to see you anymore. What are you going to do? How can you not? On the contrary, If your friend just don't talk to you, don't want to see you anymore, you better pick up and go over there fast. Because obviously, but they're waiting for you to come. Right? They're saying it in such a way. Okay, this is what Satan says. He says in a nutshell that Noach never went out of his nature. I mean, he was very holy, but please don't misunderstand. Noach was very holy. Noach never did anything wrong in his whole life. Obviously, his studying was tough, but it was like, how did Avraham Avinu begin his career? Some of you friends remember? No, that's also true. The first thing Avraham Avinu did, the Nimrod said, will you please fall down to an idol, otherwise I'm throwing you in fire? He said, okay, I'm ready to die. So to read something according to nature, I'm ready to serve God on a very high level, but to die for it now, that's too much, because God wants me to live. I want you to know on a simple level, listen to this. Again, between people. Two things. Imagine, according to nature, I have to sleep 8 hours a night. I meet somebody alive, I say, listen brother, listen sister, I have to sleep. When you love somebody very, very much, you forget you have to sleep, right? Forget you have to eat. You're out of it. Again, also something even deeper. When you love somebody a little bit, you're talking about everything important in life. When you love somebody very much, you talk about the deepest secrets, which can't even be told. Deepest secrets. Noah was on the level, he knew there was one God, those people are bad, got to be wiped out, God is right, and it's fair. And I want you to know something very, very deep. I want you to know something very, very deep. The people from the flood who were so bad, who were wiped out, what do you think, from my heart to you, do you think they were wiped out? Do you think they came back to the world and fixed everything? Let me tell you one sweet thing. The truth is that those people came back. Maybe some of you know that there was a generation who were slaves in Egypt. Why do you think they were slaves in Egypt? They worked so hard. Because they had to fix what they did wrong in Egypt. What they did wrong at the flood. They came out of Egypt, and they were really the people who received the Torah from heaven. They were absolutely the highest souls in the world. Absolutely the highest. But you had to be very deep beyond everything to see that. Nor could you see that. Now listen to this. So Satan says in one nutshell, Avraham Avinu is on the level of Torah. Torah begins with Avraham Avinu. What is the Torah? The Torah is everything is beyond nature. Everything is much deeper than it is. So out of the golem by the heart of Sophia, right? You see things, you know things, you know things. Whatever the outside tells you is nothing. Usually the inside is just the other way. You got to be Avraham Avinu. And I tell you the most way out thing in the world. Who do you think were the people from Sodom who were the most wicked, absolute most wicked people in the world? What do you think happened to them? They also came. They also came back to the world. They also passed. Very good. Very good. Avraham Avinu saw this. Okay, listen. one more sweet thing. You want to say something already? 5 minutes. Okay. No. I just want to say one more sweet thing. See, I don't understand it myself here. I'm still like in the dark, but I'd like to understand it just a little bit. Everybody knows there's greatness and there's depth. There's quantity and there's quality. Quantity is great, quality is depth. He says that there are the level, they describe the greatness of the world. And the people of the, how do you say that? The people of the Tower of Babylon, they are the people who want to destroy the depth of the world. Put it this way. You see, the downfall began with Adam. Adam ate from the tree of knowledge. Now if you know that 1 and 1 is 2, what can you do? You can hang yourself. On the level of tree of life, 1 and 1 is 1, right? 1 and 10 is 1. And sometimes 1 is not 1, maybe 1 is 2. What do you know? I want you to know one thing, that the first one who began to collect the forbidden fruit, the tree of knowledge, was Abraham.